Pledge of allegiance.
All right.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Almaguer, can you do a roll call?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yolanda Salazar, present. Mr. Ruben Archuleta.
Present.
Annabelle Noguer, present. Lucas Fresquez.
Present.
Pablo Lujan.
Present.
Mr. Lujan, we do have a forum to conduct business.
Thank you. A motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I got a quick question though. On other action items, are we going to discuss A, B, C, and D?
Mr. Archuleta, for the record, yes, we will. We will discuss each of those items prior to the vote. I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Almaguer, motion. Mr. Fresquez, second. I need to do roll call.
Yes. Ms. Yolanda M. Salazar? Yes, present. Yeah. Ruben Archuleta?
Abstain.
Ms. Annabelle Almaguer?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas Fresquez?
Yes.
And Mr. Pablo Lujan?
Yes. Under discussion, we have legislative updates, Mr. Joseph Torres.
President Hahn, Board of Education, Mr. Perez is not here tonight, so we can skip this agenda and put him on the next one.
That's fine, thank you. Under other action items, consent items, Mr. Martinez, what's your motion? Do I need to recommendation?
President Hahn, Board of Education, recommend approval, consent items 1 and 2, minutes from the regular board meeting 10/15/16, and board work session 10/3/16, essays for Park, Smart, for TQ, Sombrio Elementary.
Thank you for the recommendation of the superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve? I'll move.
I will second.
Second. There's a motion and a second. I need to do a roll call vote.
Ms. Yolanda M. Salazar? Yes. Mr. Ruben Archuleta?
No.
Ms. Annabelle Almaguer?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas Fresquez?
Yes.
And Mr. Pablo Lujan?
Yes. Motion passes. Under the action items, approval of athletic facility / track Española Valley High School project. Under discussion, so what I will do is, do we have any public participation or discussion on this project prior to a vote from the public, or anyone that would like to speak on its behalf or against the project prior to moving forward? You go ahead. So just as you come forward, please state your name for the record. Do we have any other people with this particular project moving forward? Just so I know that what time, the amount of time that we're going to allow it. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, board members, superintendent, audience, and the staff. My name is Ben Lujan, First Lieutenant Governor of Okiawinga. I'm not here to, I guess, say we're against the facility, but we do have some current concerns in regards to the money that's maybe going to be allotted to this project in regards to some of the addresses we need to make towards the San Juan Elementary School. And so I'm not going to formally say that we're against this project, because I truly believe, and we do believe, sports is an important thing for the kids of our community. But we do have some major concerns with the facilities at San Juan Elementary, and I don't know if it's the time to discuss it right now, but we would like to somehow get on your agenda myself and tribal council would like to speak to you guys and address some of the current concerns that we have. We do have roughly about 160 students from Okiawindia that attend the school. We've worked many years with the school district in regards to the school area, the facilities, providing safe roadways and stuff, and many of our concerns still keep the school at the top of our list in regards to the road projects. And so I would like to formally request to either be put on your agenda at your next meeting to address you guys, myself and Governor Salazar. So I'll just leave it at that for right now.
Thank you, Mr. Lujan, for that. I know I did see an email from the superintendent this afternoon about the concerns that you guys have, first of all. So before, basically, I wanted to try to keep that we're going to speak about this particular project.
Yes.
I think it's very concerning that we look at San Juan. I think we've never neglected it. But my thing is, I have no problem with having a work session with you guys coming and presenting your concerns. We've had one individual who has come forward to discuss issues with San Juan. I think we try to be as diligent as possible in addressing those issues. But again, we're going to stick to this particular project. Thank you for your concern. Before we move forward, if any one of the board members want to particularly address this, or if Mr. Martinez wants to address it prior to moving forward, just so we get clarification.
Mr. President, if I may, I know it's in regards to the project itself, but I'm talking dollars in regards to the project and how it maybe should be spread across the district. And so I know that this project is probably out of the kids, so I'm not saying that we're against it. I'm just, I think there's $3 million that are being spent on this project, and the concerns, we have some concerns to the school there. So
Thank you again. I think we're not going to neglect the school district for one project. I don't think we've ever done that. So I guess my question to you, Mr. Lujan, is you guys do support the project, or you guys do not support the particular project that we're discussing?
I personally support the project, but, as a father myself of kids, but I do have concerns in regards to money, the appropriations to different areas of the school district.
Thank you. So again, do I say that Mr. Martinez or any other board members want to address this particular situation?
Mr. President, I have a few words to speak.
Go ahead.
Mr. Martinez, Superintendent Martinez, I think it's important for us to know, as a district as a whole, all our classrooms, all our schools, we need to know what is lacking, what is needed. I think it's important that the principals go, you have the principals, go speak to the teachers to see what's needed in the classroom, to see what is needed to educate these children. Because if something is lacking as far as like even the facilities, which we brought up, things need to be addressed. If we could have some kind of list, maybe to the board by the next board meeting or dinner, it would be great, just to see what is lacking, what is needed, and what needs to be addressed immediately. I know that, computers, we have issues because of IT. We don't have enough staffing there to go around and complete daily orders. I think if that's an issue, we need to get somebody staffed to help. Whatever the issues are, we just need to address them. We need to know what they are first. I know that we've heard about them in a roundabout way, but I think it's important that principals go out there and address this to their teachers. The teachers come back to him and tell them exactly what's needed and what's lacking. Of course, we need to be superficial. We can only do so much, but we need to push everything that needs to be done. So if you could please get back to us, maybe get to your principals, get back to the board, and give us that list. We'll address everything.
I think Mr. Fresca's had a comment, and then we can Mr. Martinez.
Since I've been on the board, San Juan has been one of the highest achieving schools. I want to thank the community, thank the government for all they do and the ancillary support for that community. In my time, anything that's been brought to the board has always had my support for San Juan. I read an email that was sent by Mr. Archuleta, and I think he might have misinformed you, saying that, that San Juan's in serious need of some maintenance, and I'm not talking or denying that, but he said that he indicated the superintendent and some of the board members have been unresponsive. That concerns me, because I went back and looked at all the prior work sessions, and we have the way it works here, if something needs to be put on the agenda, one board member just has to call the president, Mr. Lujan, Mr. Pablo, can you please put this on the agenda? We'll hear it, and if it's need, we'll bring it forth. And I went back to all the work sessions, and I couldn't find any conversation with any regards to San Juan. The only one that ever really came up and talked about issues with San Juan was Mr. Peterson. But I just want to clarify that this board isn't unresponsive. Mr. Martinez isn't unresponsive. In fact, you can go back and look at how I voted. Everything that's come from San Juan, I've supported, and anything that needs to be done that we can, we will move forward, because like I said, I'm very proud of San Juan. It's one of the highest achieving schools, and you guys do a fantastic job there, and I want to keep that up. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate your comment. I know that Ruben is our board member for our district, and we rely on him heavily to share some of the information and what's going on. I do think we probably might need to be a little more active in the school district, where we have several schools that the Pueblo has to take care of, and so we're spread from the Indian schools to all the colleges and everything. So, but we do have quite a bit of kids. I was a parent. My kids both attended San Juan Elementary, and I acknowledge the achievement of the past awards, or just the ability for our kids to score high in the testing, and so that's when my kids went there. But it's not only from our board member. We hear concerns. There's many concerns that we have, and we just want to just have the time to. It's time to just sit down with you all and address the concerns that we have. It's not that I'm a heavy believer that politics doesn't belong in education, but it's time that I just want to sit down as government to government and address our concerns. And I think if we're all here for the same reason, our kids, then we'll do the right thing. And so, on behalf of that, I just want to say I thank you for your comment, and I acknowledge San Juan Elementary has been a great school. I mean, it's getting crowded, and I'm also the division director for public works for the Pueblo, and so I've been working on trying to get the drive-in area addressed with the state, working many hours and trying to capture some dollars to do that through that whole area. And so, I think there's some positive things, but I appreciate your comments, and I think that we just want the time. We just feel it's time to just sit down and talk government to government and what's the right thing to do. And I'm not here to point fingers at anybody or anything, but we just want to just be able to address you guys and maybe have a good working relationship and move forward for the sake of the kids. So thank you.
And then Mr.
I just didn't want no confusion. When I read that email, it implied that it almost made me feel like I had been against San Juan. I just wanted to be very clear that I've always supported San Juan. I think it's a great school. It's one of our jewels in this community, and I think one of the biggest concerns we probably share is that road that the state needs to be fixed. So with that being said, I'll make sure Mr. Martinez contacts or lets San Juan know to bring the state in, so when we have that meeting, we can both share our concerns with the state. And that project's been on the hopper for what, 4 years already?
Yes. Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Lujan, let me clarify before people put words in my mouth. I was contacted by a couple of constituents. Governor called me, asked me what's going on. Why are you spending money on the football field when we're supposed to get a roof? Are we supposed to get a roof? What's the status of that?
So hold on, go ahead.
Okay, so that's about the roofing project. The leaks, the smell of mold. And Mr. Peterson would come to every board meeting when I was here. He was the PAC's president. He finally got tired of nobody listening to him, and he moved his kid out. So that's the story behind it. So Governor asked me, why hasn't anything been done? I said, well, they brought it up, but I'm only one board member. So that's the story behind it. I did do a walkthrough. There is mold, it's leaking. There's a building that's been condemned, that's still there. There's lots of issues there, and in their opinion, nobody seems to care. So that's when I spoke with the governor and I met with you guys. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. So I think one last one that I have, and pass it on to Mr. Martinez, is I think within the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll get a work session with you guys. You can come and bring your concerns and move forward with this particular issue.
Also the state.
And if you have any additional? I just want to address if Mr. Porter has any questions.
Mr. Lujan, Board of Education, Mr. Lujan, thank you for coming before us and not only supporting the football field project as a parent and a community member, but expressing your concerns. What I'd like to do, I don't believe on these people that are being mentioned here. I was a superintendent, so this is all new to me. So, but I do agree with a couple of comments you made. The first is politics doesn't have a place in school, but sometimes it's necessary to get the groups together. I totally agree. And so we'll do that. The second thing is, more importantly, the facilities are important. Don't get me wrong, life, health, safety issues. We want to make sure and address those, that our kids go to safe schools. But more importantly, the instructional model in that school. We want kids that go to that school to have opportunity. We want the best teachers, the best instruction, the best model, the best leadership to drive those teachers into having an A school. And when we get there, we need to maintain whatever that looks like. So that's the part that politics sort of ends up muddying the waters. The buildings, not a problem. We can work on it. In fact, I'm going to ask Mr. Cordova if you'll give him a little bit of room to come forward and share what he's done in that school. And a brief history behind it, I want to get, that's not what we're here for, but we had a couple of organizations come look at our schools, look at our bus pickup, drop-offs to make sure we're legal, and address the legalities of what we're doing to make sure we don't get kids harmed. And in doing so, they actually assessed that school. Okay? It was a state entity that's responsible for assessing the schools. We asked him not only to assess that one, assess them all. Because he's the guy that says there's a hole in the wall, there's this, there's that. And that's the part, we want to make sure our schools are safe. We want to make sure that they're free from any dangers to children. But it's inside the building. The part that Mr. Fresquez is telling you, guys have done a great job supporting the schools so that your kids can go in that school and get a good education. That's the important thing. And we're not going to ignore either one, so if I can ask Mr. Cordova to come forward and tell us the work he's done in that school. We received that report a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and so he'll show us what he's done. And if you'll go ahead, Mr. Cordova, please.
Superintendent, President Han, board members. Just a quick update, now that we're on the subject of South Lawn Elementary. Ponds and Associates, our risk division of our insurance, came out on September 20th, 2016, to review and address what Mr. Martinez was talking about the drop-off and the parent drop-off areas and all that. So from there, he continued on and he did a thorough inspection of the whole school. We did a thorough inspection. We received it a couple of weeks ago of its findings. What the district has also been working on in conjunction with that is our FMAR reports, our facility maintenance assessment reports. That again, that ranking goes towards our school replacements. So they sort of tied together. The insurance one of what we pay and then the facility assessment report. So what we've been doing, again, and to address Mr. Archuleta's question earlier about the roofing system, we did apply. I think it was about a year and a half ago. We did apply to the state. They had some extra funding at the time for different systems, roofing system being one of them. We did apply. We did not receive that award, and then whenever the opportunity arises again, we will apply for it. The only thing about applying for or replacing a roof, again, as we all know, our percentages, our standings with the state will go higher to where when it's time to replace that school or renovate that school, I mean, it pushes us higher in the ranking. So what we've been doing
if I may, Mr. Lujan, we'll have the work session as part of the facilities also. It'll make more sense, but in a nutshell, what Mr. Cordova is alluding to is that when you have schools will get renovated and it's a state match, we pay about, the school district pays about 1/3, the state pays about 2/3 of the funding. And if you start making all these repairs, then your schools rank to say 110. They typically do the top 100 schools in the state every year. They do construction, they fund it. And what happens if you start making the repairs, putting new roofs and that, then it goes from 110 to 310.
And Superintendent and President and Board, I do understand that because I handle all of that for the tribe. So I handle capital outlay, everything. And so I do understand the crisis that we're in with the state and the sweep that just happened the past few days. And so, but that still doesn't solve the problem of the health and safety of the kids. And, and that's a big concern, is what do we do now? I mean, and Are we, if anything is not done, are we, as, board members, community officials, are we putting our kids at risk? Not only, every kid that goes to that school. And so, I appreciate you guys accepting some kind of work session. I think it needs to happen, and I'm not here to, I don't want to mess your agenda up, but I just wanted to address you guys to be able to see if you can allow us to speak to you all on government-to-government relation and try to resolve some of the things. And I understand, some of the things that the board is in and decisions that have to be made, but when I look at the facility and stuff, that's a luxury too, and so when we talk about infrastructure to luxuries, and believe me, I've coached here in Española for a long time, from Pop Warner was here, to Little League, to everything that before I even had kids, so I understand the facilities need upgrade, and I'm an alumni of, the Sun Devils, with Annabelle, and so I understand, and so, I do, support those kind of projects. From the federal standpoint, we're even trying to build projects ourselves that can help the community, the, northern Rio Arriba area to help facilitate some of these, endeavors these kids have for exercising and sports, and so organized sports is very close to my heart, and it's done a lot to this community, to change this community in a positive way, as I've seen a lot of the kids grow up. So, but I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to you guys on another time. So, thank you all.
So we'll just wrap it up and go, so there's a lot of time on it, but so we can just have a work session on it. We'll bring the state, reevaluate it, and we'll.
And Mr. Esponza, if you can just bring like the dollar amount and how much we've spent, and, maybe talk about a little bit about each.
Okay, we'll put together a packet for each one, and bring the.
Thanks. Any additional comments on this project?
Good evening, Superintendent Martinez, President Hahn, members of the board. I didn't expect to speak because the agenda didn't say there was going to be a chance, but since we're here. First, I just want to say that I don't think it's fair to the community that you're going to suggest that someone come up and say we're either for or against something for our kids. I think we're all for our kids. And under ideal conditions, we'd all want this project to happen. Actually, I've been talking to my students all day about it. Those of them who are here can attest to the fact that I've been telling them that I was a 3-sport athlete at Española Valley High School. I understand the importance of sports and the kinds of character traits it builds in kids. I think it's a great thing. Under ideal conditions, why wouldn't we support a project to bring our facilities as far up to date as possible? But again, I think it's unfortunate that we would ask someone to frame whether we are for or against something like this. That seems to me a little bit ridiculous. As far as the track is concerned, I think it's a little premature to make a decision like this when, as Ms. Almaguer said, we don't know exactly what needs to be fixed or doesn't need to be fixed in the district. And I sent an email to all of you. I don't know if you got it, because I think our district email spams a lot of people's emails, so you might not be hearing from your constituents. But if you got it, I hope you did, because I sent you pictures of some of our facilities at school that included crumbling tile in boys' bathrooms, broken toilet seats, crumbling walls. I mean, some of these things are, as you say, big expenses that if we repaired would bring us down on the state's priority list. But some of them, like broken toilet seats, literally would not. That's an issue of health and safety. I've heard stories from students in the last week or so that you can sit in some stalls. There are literally holes between one stall and the next. So if you sat in it, you'd be sitting looking at your neighbor. Across the hall, at least the last time I checked, I didn't get a chance to check before I came here, there were no stall doors in the boys' bathrooms. And crumbling tile, okay. So obviously there are a lot of needs in all of our schools, and I understand that we're not going to get a brand new high school or a brand new Chimayo Elementary. I get that, and I understand that we need the state's help in order to fund those things. The problem, though, is that if we continue to say that we're going to wait for the state to say yes and help us with some of these projects, they might never come, especially when that requires us to pass bonds that, no offense to any of you board members, no one trusts you. They're not going to vote for a bond right now. They're not going to approve a bond. And even if they did, it wouldn't be enough money to build most of the projects that we're talking about. So we cannot keep saying that we're going to wait for the state to fund these projects. It's not going to happen. I would like to propose that if we're going to apply for a 5-year master plan, and we're going to do the kind of audit that Ms. Almer just suggested, as far as weighing out the priorities for the district, that this track be part of that discussion. There's no reason to spend millions of dollars on something when we're not even sure if that money could better be used someplace else, especially, and again, I appreciate all the kids who are here tonight. I wish that more of these meetings would attract more people, although apparently sports is the only thing that does it. Right? I think they deserve to go to a school where they can use the bathroom in privacy, where they don't have to worry about scratching their bottoms because of broken toilet seats, where they don't have to be ashamed to go to facilities where, honestly, I'm not sure any of you, if any of you have been in there, okay? We're lucky as adults. We don't have to use these facilities. I have a staff bathroom. The principal has a staff bathroom. The central office primarily is situated here in the teacher's lounge, and they have a really nice bathroom. Our kids don't get that luxury. And so before we go and spend money on other luxuries, I think we need to reevaluate the priorities for the district.
Thank you, Mr. Sena.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
So there's a couple of people. Hold on. There's a
Would
couple
I
people.
also like to make a comment?
One moment. The way I said there's a couple people standing up.
No problem.
So what we could do is, how many more people are we going to discuss about this project? Because we're taking up a lot of time on it, which is okay. It's a good, thorough discussion on it. But I want to make sure so we talk about it and we can have we can address these issues as is. So I guess my question to the board is: are we going to discuss each individual as they speak, or are we going to discuss it after all the people who want to speak on this project? Okay, so then what we'll do is, I will, so again, how many more people are gonna wanna speak on this project's behalf? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. So there's 4 people here. I will allow you, I'm gonna cut it down to 3 minutes each to speak on whatever on this particular project. Ms. Almaguer, can you please keep track of time? We'll let them speak. We will have all discussions. We'll try to answer all the questions that have been brought to us. If there's any facilities questions, comments, or the superintendent, we'll make then we'll have a recommendation and a vote. So, go ahead.
Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, thank you. My name is Marty Trillo, for the record. Work for the Española Public Schools, but also Rio Arriba County Commissioner. Just wanted to make a point of clarification on why this is very important about public who commenting for or against. This is a platform that needs to be stated, and this is Robert's Rules of Order. So when you come up here and you have items on an agenda like this, Robert's Rules of Order, which we're all governed by elected officials, you have to allow people to speak for and against, and that's why this is publicly noticed in the local newspaper so people can come to these meetings and voice their support or their not support for the particular agenda item. But I'm up here to voice my support for this track and field. I think it's long overdue, and sports is something that Rio Arriba County is about because it brings families together. It gives kids opportunity. We have so much local talent that love to get out there and exercise, but we have parents that are very caring for their kids, and they want to see them succeed. And sometimes sports causes controversy, and a lot of this stuff that we have here in our community right now is based on sports. And sometimes people take this the wrong way when opinions are made based on sports. But I think it's very important that we see all these kids here and realize that they do need a facility that they can actually perform at. They do need a place where their parents can go sit down and actually enjoy themselves and watch their student athletes try hard. I am for improving our school district and improving facilities, but these facilities are constant wear and tear. And so there is money separated and money appropriated for different things and how you spend the money. It's just governing, it's about budgets and balance and where you get this money from and how you improve schools. It's different all the time. So in my opinion, I think the board needs to step up and say where this money is coming from and how this money is appropriated. But at the same time, realize that these kids didn't come to be let down tonight. These kids came because they're growing part of Española Valley and they want to be treated so. That's why we have good facilities in Rio Grande County, and we want to make sure that Española Valley has a great track and field. Football team needs some better equipment, and yes, we do need showers. Yes, we do need things like that. There's a lot of things that we can concentrate on, but right now, these kids want to see a track and field, and I think it's very important that we give these people the time and the effort that they deserve by approving this. So, as a Rio Grande County Commissioner, I am in full support of trying to give these kids what they deserve, and that's a good track and field. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, school board members, superintendents. My name is Dennis Tim Salazar. I'm a city councilor for the city of Española, but I'm not here in that position tonight. I'm here as a parent. I have two boys. One's a 5th grader at James H. Rodriguez Elementary. My older son is a 9th grader at Española Valley High School. He's a student athlete. He runs cross country and he runs track for Española Valley High School. The pride of Española Valley High School. I'm here today in support of the field and the track for our students. When student athletes and students that are involved in activities, when they are involved in these type of activities, it helps to mentor them, leadership, discipline, and to be able to move forward in life along with the classroom. Of course, first of all, they're students. Second of all, they're athletes. But at the same time, that works together, in one. As mentioned previously, I've gone to school with some of the school board members as well, and you guys were in athletics as well, and good students as well. I do cautiously state, though, that, as I mentioned, I am in support of this, but I do humbly ask you to please do it right. Please do it the right way. Everything needs to be an open government at all times, no matter what. That's very important, and there's no time that anything, that shouldn't be straight. There should never be a stray from that. It should be an open government. That's why we are all governmental officials, whether it's a school board member, county commissioner, city councilor, whatever it may be. And at this point, I just humbly and respectfully ask you to please consider that, but please lay everything out on the table and do things the right way. I was here at the meeting last week, and I wasn't too impressed with the way things went. But again, at the same time, we all work hard for an open government, for our students, and as mentioned, as I said, my younger son is a 5th grader, my older son is a 9th grader, so it's not just for the current high school students right now, it's for the future. Look at all these young students here tonight. They're in support of this. The parents are in support of this. But at the same time, I do ask you, humbly ask you to please do things right, and something that we all could enjoy. There's several liabilities with that track right now. I've seen some warping, I've seen a lot of holes inside the field, and it's not just the students, but again, sometimes parents or sometimes other activities. Other people from other school districts come to our school all the time. So of course, we've got to maintain that pride of Española Valley. And
10 seconds.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Sorry. We had two students. We had one on this side and one on this side. So whoever wants to go. Oh, is it a parent? I'm sorry. So we'll let the parent, I guess we can let the parent, and then you can come next.
Hello, board. Good evening.
My name is Roland Garcia, and I'm a parent. I'm in favor of the field. I spoke last week here in favor of it. I just want to say I did some research on some fields, and some parents told me we had the worst field in the state. So I went and Googled Española High School field. There's no pictures of it because nobody wanted to waste their time on that dirt. So I searched Escalante, Cuesta. Man, those are fields. Those are fields. Whether you come from Winge, and Arde, Alcante, we're going to all end up in that field. All of us. Our kids are going to end up, no matter where you're at. So we need this field. You've got a picture that has a hamster and a thing. That a hamster can roll around. If that little field where it doesn't spin, if you don't replace that little spinner, it's just going to end up, But anyway, I'm in favor of the field and these kids. It's not about us. That field we represent. That field, when it looks brand new, you represent that field. We represent that field. Right now, the way that field looks out there, that's what we represent. And we don't want that. And I don't think these kids want to play in that field like that. And it's just a dream come true if that field happens. That's all I gotta say.
Hello. My name is Faith Trujillo, and I run cross country and track at Española. I just want you guys to notice how many parents who came here to support their children, and how many student athletes came here from their own time. I just really, really, really think that we deserve this. We work hard in the classroom to go out and do what we love. And I know that there are other issues out there. We all do. There's bathroom issues, there's book supplies. But honestly, the kids out there vandalize, and they don't care. They don't care about their education. We do extracurricular activities because we care. We care in and out of the classroom. We care about our school. That's why we're here. We just came to support, and honestly, if everyone out in the school cares about the bathrooms and about the books, obviously we do. We do too, but if they really cared, they'd be here. Why would we be here if we didn't care? I just think that we want it, but we deserve it. We've been running for, I don't know, all high school, some of us. And just the football players and the cross-country players just really put their heart out there, and to have something that we can actually look forward to have a second home, it was just, so yeah, just came to support, I guess. Thank you.
So I guess I'll start with some of my concerns and questions or comments on some of these issues that have been brought forward. I think that this board and previous board passed a bond in 2011 for $28 million. I think this board has done an extremely great job in spending that money throughout projects in this district. A lot of people don't know what we've done in this district. But I want to try to highlight some of the projects that we have done with that $28 million. We did build a new Alcalde Elementary. We did renovate a brand new Fairview Elementary. We did do a new renovate of Los Niños Kindergarten Center. We have done 4 or 5 roof projects. We have done, we're building a new central office. We would like to see this next project to move forward. So when you look at how long our dollars have been spent, I think they've been spent diligently, and they've been spread out throughout the district. It hasn't just been a one particular school, hasn't been a one particular facility or one project. I think it's been straight across the board. I think, Mr. Sena, thank you for bringing some of those concerns in some of those areas. We try, the board does not have the luxury of going to every school and seeing what needs to be repaired or not repaired. These are great things that you brought to us. I think Mr. Martinez, that you and your facilities manager should go and look and see where we can fix some of these projects, because there is money available for those projects. We're not stopping from moving some of these projects forward. The other project that we're looking at moving forward is the renovation of Advocate, with this part of this GEO bond money. So the monies have been spent, I think, throughout the district, and we're trying to create new facilities and safe facilities. There's other projects that I think that I'm missing, but I think we need to highlight every single one of those projects. It's been on hold for 3-4 years already as the Velarde Elementary. It's part of this bond money. So Velarde will be renovated at some point. At that point, we pretty much have spent all our bond money. I think at that point, we have looked at it, and I think you do bring some concern about what a general obligation bond looks at in the future. This district has always had an issue about moving a bond forward. It always has. The last bond was passed before the 2011, it's probably 10, 12 years. But if you look at, that's why we continue having dilapidated buildings falling and not being repaired, because the district does not have the funding to fix those projects. But if you continue passing bonds, you do get new projects, you do get new buildings, because that's what the money's for. The monies are only tied to fix the projects that are out, that are spoken for in a bond. I mean, if you look at our bond, what we pay per thousand is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is about $5.53 per thousand. If you look at other school districts around us and look at the facilities, that's why they haven't. Because look at Chama Valley, I think it's like 12 per thousand. You look at Santa Fe, it's 17 per thousand. So you start really looking at what other counties and school districts are looking at. They're paying a lot more in property taxes for having nice and great facilities. But the way I said, I think we have really spent our money the best way that we can, that has been presented to us. Every one of these projects have been recommended by the superintendent and staff, and a lot of these have been matched by funding from the state. So in saying that we haven't done and spent the money correctly is a misstatement, in my personal opinion. I think this track and field project has been something that has been spoken for years, not just today. Mr. Vigil, our athletic director, has been asking me every time I see him. Since he's been here, he's been with us for 3 years, 4 years. But if you look around us, every other school district, probably almost in all of northern New Mexico, have a new field and track. So for us to be a 5A school and not have one and provide something that is in need, I mean, everyone can always argue the point of, is it a want or is it a need? Or is it a necessity? But I think at the end of the day, the kids are the ones that use it. I mean, we have track, we have cross country, we could possibly even have soccer by realigning the field. The football team uses it. So those are some of my concerns. Again, to address some of the issues with the concerns that Mr. Sena brought up forward, is I think it's important, if you could find out for us or work with facilities manager, is have work orders been placed to try and address some of those issues with those pictures that you have. I don't know the answer. We hear these things coming up in front of us. I think we try to address every issue that comes in front of us. But the only way to address it is bringing it forward to us. And thank you. Sometimes we don't want to hear what you guys have to say, but at the end of the day, our concern is to move this district forward and keep good facilities for these kids to be in. That's what I have before we move forward. Any other board members or superintendent, Mr. Corpa wants to address this prior to the vote.
Mr. Yohan, just to build on what you said, I think it's also imperative to understand that we had a GRT bill that was on the governor's desk that would have provided $30-some million to our district. It was the city's inability to manage the audits and them having the highest GRT that the governor was completely against, adding more tax to burden to the citizens of this community. But just to build on what Mr. Lujan's saying and what Mr. Sena was saying, ETS Fairview, that was $17 million roughly. Alcalde was about $13 million. LNKC is about $3 million. Central Office about $2.5 million. Abiqui's about $3 million. Bernardo's was about $4.2 million. The track and field at the high school, $2.5 million. The track and field up here at $1.5 million. Other improvements about $3 million. If I do the math, that's about $47.5 million. Mr. Sena, if I told you I had $28 million and I made it $48 million, that's not efficiency? you know, you get up here and it's real critical and you imply that we're not being efficient with the money, but if you look deep, that tells you that we turned that $28 million into $48 million. And you know, yes, we do have a lot of needs. The FMP says that we have $120 million in needs. So we are making strides. We are making improvements to the best of our ability. And you know, anybody that disagrees with that, that's all I can say is that we have $28 million and we made it into $48 million. I'm doing the math and that seems like we spent it pretty good.
Thank you. Any other board member want to add additional comments, questions to it?
I got a question for John, and I want to thank you for, it takes a lot of courage to come up and state your opinions, especially in this type of scenery. And I hope you have a job tomorrow, you know, because it takes a lot of courage to come up. I want to thank you for doing that. You know, it's hard, but you're passionate, and that's what I like to see in a teacher. Also, I have a question for Commissioner Trujillo. I know you made a comment that kids really are interested in sports, but shouldn't we as a community and as a county push our kids to go to school, get degrees? Because in my opinion, I think the high drug problem in this community is they need schools and maybe even the county, because we need to give our kids an outlet to do things. And it concerns me as a commissioner to say, you know, to really put sports forward. We're first of all, we're in education. That's the first and foremost thing that I like. So, have you ever played sports before?
Of course I have, Mr. Archuleta, but what I would like to tell you is at Rio Arriba County, we invest continually in kids, and not only in kids and education, but we invest in the Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, breast cancer awareness, in our grandparents, because so many grandparents are raising children right now, that we continue to invest in children. It's been my mission to invest in children. Right now, Rio Arriba County is working with Luna College, and on Tuesday, I invite you to join us in Luna College to work with the college there that's going to bring some trades to our kids that want to go to become nurses, to want to become heating and cooling technicians, to want to be to work with Buffalo Thunder, to work with even OK Wing if we have. Buffalo Thunder's reached out to Rio Arriba County. Luna College has reached out to Rio Arriba County, and they want to start using our facilities, schools included. Right now they have a machine that you can actually sit down. It's kind of like a video game to become a CDL operator licensed. And they can do a lot of these things in a timely manner. So there's so many kids that do want to get educated, but don't have the means to get educated by. So what we're doing right now is we're investing in education.
I want to cut you off again because I think we're going off track of what we're talking about. I totally agree with what you're reading for, but we're off track. We're talking about one project.
And I'm sorry, Mr. President.
But this isn't a question and answer type of answer. He came up, he spoke his behalf, we could talk about his behalf, but we're not going to continue on this. If you want to have a discussion with Rio Arriba County and what they're doing, we can add it to the work session when we begin some, okay, we need to be part of that.
Okay, well, same thing for Mr. Sen. If you want to have a discussion with him, set up a meeting with him.
And I've also been a coach, Mr. Archuleta, at Chima Elementary, and some of these kids I coached. So I'm letting you know as a parent, I've been there and I've helped out these kids just like yourself. And I invite you Tuesday to really see what Rio Arriba County is doing in terms of education and helping students.
Sorry, thank you. We're getting off subject on this. Any other board members have additional questions? I want to address one thing Mr. Salazar brought up, which was the open government. It was not placed in the agenda as stated, so that was part of it. The other thing is, this is the fourth open discussion that we've had about that facility. So we brought in a company to give us the quotes of the project and bringing it forward. Where it got misconstrued was last week's agenda only had one item on it, which was the bleachers. So where people got mixed up was it's a bleacher project. It's not a bleacher project. It's a total project of everything. When we looked at it, this board seen that information. The only thing I think we were lacking was one piece of it. That was the bleacher quote. that, I think that Mr. Cordova can address to that because he's the one that works to get those quotes. My thing is they gave us different options, Lone Mountain, which was to do the total project, which was the field, the track, the lights, the bleachers, all into one project, which was around $2.4 million, $2.5 million. When we looked at it, we asked if we could piecemeal it, can we break it down to just do the track? Can we just do the field? Can we just do the lights? Can we just do the bleachers? So the breakup down that they gave us at that time was to do the track and field was right about 1.5 million. And I have the information, I think it's already public record by now. That's how much that particular project cost. Then they gave us different breakdowns with the lighting, providing new lighting, providing LED lighting, using the current poles that we have and replacing just the lights themselves, which was an extra dollar amount and had broken down into different pieces. And then so they talked about those two pieces. Then they talked about the total project, which was the $2.5 million. So if you added the lights, the track and field, minus what they'd given us the first price, the first total, it was about a $500,000, $600,000 difference in price. So the quote that we had, that we'd seen, which was $372,000 for the bleachers, was about $150,000 less than what the total project if we're going to do the whole project. Go ahead.
President Ron's Board of Education, that initial price on the bleachers came in around $900,000. The second price came in about $375,000. So it's a significant savings, about $400,000.
So to open government, Mr. Saunders want to address that in the public, is that these numbers have been presented to the board multiple times. The only one piece that wasn't there was an actual quote of the bleachers in part of that whole project. But if you look at it, we're going to try to save $400,000 by piecemealing this. I think that's good fiduciary duty on behalf of the board and not just giving the contract to one particular vendor. So I hope that at least answers part of your question, your concern, is that we have had multiple meetings on this particular project. It wasn't last week and this week were not the first times that we've met on this project.
So, Mr. President, our first meeting was in end of September, right?
Somewhere around there.
How come this quote says August 17th?
That's a question for Mr. Cordova.
This was discussed at the end of September. This quote says August 17th. So somebody must have been discussing it without some of the board members not knowing.
President Hahn, Superintendent, Board Member Chuleta, and you're referring to the CS quote, correct, for the
August
bleachers?
17th, yeah. And the first time we started discussing was the end of September. So that's a month difference.
But what had happened is we had reached out, and I have some other quotes that are probably even older than that. I think last year, maybe about a year and a half ago, we had some concerns with the existing bleachers that are out there right now. So we did reach out and we did get a quote, we did get some information on them. And at the time that we did review it, we didn't move forward with it. We looked at it and we said, well, let's hold off on it and let's see where, if we do move forward with the project or we don't. Again, we reached out around September again, just to see if any pricing had changed, anything they had, just to reach out on a quote. Because again, at the start of the football season, we had some concerned parents again make some phone calls and inquire about the safety of the bleachers, the current bleachers, and they're outdated. I'm sure we've all seen.
That was one of those currents.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why we did reach out again to get a quote on the bleachers, and then after that, then this project, we reached out to Lone Mountain. To come in and do a walkthrough on the track, with Superintendent Martinez, myself, Ms. Alma Guerra, I think she brought it up in a board meeting. We did meet out there. We did see the concerns and the issues of the track, the conditions of it, where it was dipping, cracking in some of those areas. So I think that's where we decided maybe to reach out to Lone Mountain and get a quote for the total project. We received a quote, about $2.5 million, we received a quote. Then again, Mr. Martinez, myself, we sat down, we reached out to Lone Mountain again, and we asked them what it would be piecemeal together. And then that's when we started having the conversations and then starting to review the budget and trying to tie numbers and the quote together and see if it was actually feasible, financially feasible to get this project off the ground.
But we still haven't gotten those numbers yet for Myrna, because we were promised at the last board meeting that Myrna will give us numbers to see how much money we have in the bank. Is that going to be presented to us, or? How much money we have?
Ms. Garcia, please step forward.
Okay, so I did present some cash balances at the previous board meeting. I updated some numbers, and the bond investment cash balances, including all the pending projects that I identified, is $444,611.93. So that is including setting aside the Aperture renovation, the high school, the Largo renovation, Fairview gym renovation, if we need to do central office or the football field, and then we have the operational balance, which is a different amount. So there's, let's see, that one is 1,582,000.
1.5 million?
1,587,020.
So that's how much money we have.
That's what's available in cash balance to budget and operational, and available to cash balance in bond is 444,611.
So we have close to $2 million for a $2.5 to $3 million project. So where we're getting the rest of the money?
That's with the money.
That's
with the money. That's after the project.
That's after the projects, and I had given this out at the last meeting, and it listed the project. So that's already setting aside the ABQ, the Velarde.
That's including the football field.
Well, see, yes, you can use the football field in the bond, or you can use it for the cash balance, so either one. There is enough for the football
So
field,
we have
yes.
1.5 and 445,000.
Uh-huh.
That's what we have. That's after the football field.
That's,
Doesn't include the football field.
well, see, like I said, you either use operational for central office, or you use it for the football field.
But even if you add those two up, that's $2 million.
It's available.
The football field's close to $3 million.
You can use it for that.
But we're still moving short though.
No, we're not sure.
That's okay, for the football field, we said no. So we're not getting.
Board member
We're
Archuleta.
not getting into it because we're talking about the money for the football field. We're not getting off the subject.
Okay, so that's why, again, that's why we asked for the breakdown in different stages.
Right.
So right now, if we were to move forward, and I'll add it up real quick, if we're to move forward with the bleachers, the track, and the turf, we're looking at approximately, so about $1.8 million, approximately. Okay. The track, the bleachers, and the football field, the turf. Okay, so then that would be utilizing our current lighting that we have right now. So then what we would do is probably June, July, when we get, the fiscal year's about to, we'll revisit the budget and we'll see where we're at. The lighting, LED lighting is roughly about $320,000. Okay, so then that would be the next phase. If we were to do HID lighting, would be $277. So of course, for energy savings and for in the long run, For the height of those bulbs and all that, we probably want to go lean more towards the 320,000. So what we do is we piecemeal this project together. What we do is we work on, of course, the track and the field, and the track and the field, turf, and the bleachers, because all three are life safety and hazard. Then after that, once this project is completed, then come the end of the fiscal year, we revisit again where we are budgetary wise, and from there we can move forward with either putting that project together or splitting it half and half through the year and completing this project. So right now, currently, we do have the money available to complete this project and continue to maintain our facilities and continue to address the issues that have been brought forth. Again, how I say, in this work session, I'll bring up the next work session that we have. I'll bring up costs, major life and safety issues and concerns that we have. Those we address on a weekly basis. But we do have money still available to maintain and to improve our existing facilities with this project.
Thanks. Any additional questions? Mr. Martinez, what's your recommendation on this project?
President Hahn, Board of Education recommend approval of athletic facility track at Española Valley High School project.
I will move.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second.
There's a second. I need you to roll call vote.
Yes. Ms. Yolanda M. Salazar?
Before I make my decision, I want to address the students. I don't have any kids, but I was in your shoes. I ran track. I love track. I love football. It's not that I'm against you all having a new facility. I want you to have a new facility, a new track. That track has been the same one since I was there. Long before that as well, I'm sure. What I'm not comfortable with is just the process in which the decision was made. And without you being in my seat where I'm at, you really won't understand that. But I just want you to know that it's not that I don't want you to have this facility. It's not, I'm just not happy in the way the decision was made. So my vote is no.
Mr. Ruben Archuleta?
I'm also explain my vote. So I voted no where I'm saying we should. I'm voting no, so I'm going to explain why. The football players, I've been to everyone, I'm probably the only board member who's been to everyone's football games, home games. I support you guys, my kids play after. I understand that. I have some issues with one of the companies here, because the last time we had teachers, we had a horrible time in the gym. And it cost us more money than we stay there. That's my concern, how things were done. In my opinion, I don't think things were done right. I was kept out of the league for most of it. So that's why the reason I'm voting no. I want a field, I want pride. You know, I went to Escalante. I'd like the field. But that's the reason why I'm voting no is because of the process.
Lucas Vasquez?
I know what they know, and yes, I'm voting in support of it.
Yes.
Yes. And for the record, I'm going to make a couple more additional comments on this project. I guess first of all, I want to start off by saying congratulations to the kids that will use this field and congratulations to the kids that are using this. We knew this project was going to be stressful because of individual retaliatory comments and concerns of other individuals. So that's why we made it very, very clear. That's why we had 4 meetings on this project. So we had all the documentation. So all the information would be provided to each and one of these board members on this board. So when we made this decision, we're trying to make the best and wise decision so that the kids of this district would use it. I think they see it. So that's my concern. So every board member, we heard today that someone was out of the loop of the information. This information, I was not given any additional information than any one of these other board members were. It was provided all at the same time. So with that, those are the comments that I want to keep on there. And again, congratulations to probably finally getting something really nice that you guys can again use, where it affects more than just one thing. We always hear that basketball gets everything. This just proves again that basketball doesn't get everything, that other sports are getting it. And again, we focus so much at the high school because the kids are going to funnel from the elementaries into the junior high and all the way into the high school. So again, those are my comments for it. And I'm looking forward to seeing when that field is complete, when we have a ribbon cutting on it. So, thank you. Moving forward, the approval of 2016-17 application for development and updating 5-year facility master plan. Mr. Martinez, what's your recommendation?
President Lujan, Board of Education recommend approval of the 2016-2017 application for development and updating the 5-year facility master plan.
For the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to approve? I'll move.
I will second.
There's a motion and a second. Abby, can you roll call vote? No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Again, I just want to point out for the record, this is being voted on because this is what keeps us in line with the state. This keeps us in line so we can continue moving projects forward in upgrading and updating all our facilities. So that's the reason I voted for this. And also, for the record, this is a state requirement by PSFA and the state of New York. Mr. Martinez, what's the recommendation under C, approval to retain legal counsel representation on regular board meetings? Is there discussion? Say, can we have a motion? Let's for discussion. Mr. Martinez, who wants to start?
President Lujan, Board of Education. The reason that I brought this before the Board of Education, there were several meetings we had present with us legal counsel, and everything seemed to go well, and the way a board meeting should. In the past couple of weeks, legal counsel has not been present, and things have gone well in the board meeting, and maybe people don't always disagree, but it's after the board meeting, in public media and those kinds of things that are really not treating this Board of Education fair and this district fair. So one of the reason I'm recommending this is that if we have legal counsel present, then I would assume that this would all go back to where it was when legal counsel was present in the first place. Just as tonight's board meeting, it was a tough board meeting, but it's a good board meeting. It is a good board meeting. It's not over yet. So with that in mind, that's why this item is on the agenda.
Thank you. Any recommendation, or is there additional discussion on this?
I have, how can somebody want us to approve something without, what's the numbers? What is it gonna cost us? That's what I wanna know. What's it gonna cost the taxpayers? What's it gonna cost the students? That's what I wanna know.
I think we did get that presented to us like 2 meetings ago. For the record, Mr. Martinez did give us a little breakdown of the cost of having legal representation at a regular board meeting. So, Mr. Zamora.
Board President Lujan, Member Archuleta. The Española Public School District has several law firms that are retained by the district. They're paid on an hourly basis, and it's all through an RFP process. Your several different vendors have several different rates. As far as I'm aware, our law firm is the lowest rate of any of the law firms that you have on board. Depending, each of the law firms that you have on board charge on an hourly basis with their hourly rate, depending on the length of the meetings. If it's a 2-hour meeting, a 4-hour meeting, or travel. And of the several law firms that you have on board,
Yes.
we are one of the two from Santa Fe.
Yes.
There's others charge their time from Albuquerque, versus us coming up about 35 minutes from Santa Fe. So it's those hourly wages that get charged to the district. Now, I think the question for the board, because that is an important question, Board Member Archuleta.
I need to put you on the spot.
This is my role. Being put on the spot is not unusual. And so, the issue, the question of, is this the best way to spend funds that could go other places? My preference is that you use the lawyers as little as possible. The difficulty is, based on some of the things that have happened over the last few weeks, and the weeks when the law firm hasn't been present, it ends up being multiples more expensive because of accusations of non-compliance with the Open Meetings Act, or because the process during the meeting might get off track that causes a complaint to the Attorney General's office. And there have been complaints to the Attorney General's office for failure to comply with the Open Meetings Act. And when that happens, when there's a complaint to the AG's office, it's not the cost of traveling here, not the cost of attending, it's the cost of researching, writing, meetings, all of those, which are multiple numbers more. In an ideal world, I would not be present. It's up to the board to decide whether or not I'm present, and whether it's preventative medicine, they have me present here to avoid much larger expenses on the back end. As I spoke the first time you brought this up about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I do my best to minimize the expenses by doubling up on the number of projects I do when I visit. I try not to only come for a board meeting because I know travel is expensive. So when we had other litigation, I would set up meetings for other litigation to minimize the expenses, kill two birds with one stone. And that's the efforts I make on that for the board and for yourself.
And my concern is, why do we need a babysitter? For adults, we should know how to run a meeting, and we shouldn't have fear to have an attorney here every morning, because if we're running the meeting correctly, we shouldn't even legal counsel here. I feel like we need a babysitter, a high-priced babysitter. Like you're here as a babysitter, and I think we should be okay. That's my personal opinion.
Was that a question to me?
No, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I feel.
Mr. Councilor Zamora, if I may, Mr. Archuleta, I think you're misconstruing. I don't, this recommendation is that I think the board needs a babysitter. This recommendation is because at some of those meetings, like for example, it was portrayed in the media as a meltdown. It was not a meltdown, it was disagreement. Okay? So with our attorney right here, we can contest those things with press releases or whatever else we need to do, and we will contest them. Okay? Because he's here not to babysit the board, but he's here to make sure these board meetings are legal and that there's not mistakes made, and so that it doesn't cost us more by getting accused, whether right or wrong. At the last board meeting, it was alleged that we had an illegal meeting, is the term that was used by the media. We had an illegal meeting. So regardless of what happens, the attorney's here. He knows that it's legal or not. So we are able to positively, proactively prevent these serious allegations against the governing body. So when the attorney has been here, that has not happened.
Superintendent, if I may point out a couple of examples. As we've discussed in other contexts, this district is paying a lot of attention to better compliance with transparency and with the meetings laws. And as examples, at the meetings where you had me present, there were potential Open Meetings Act law violations that, had I not been here, could have cost the district significantly. Some examples. In June, there was a meeting in which the agenda was not published properly, and the board was not aware of that. And the board came in for a special meeting with an executive session and the local media, one of the reporters from the local media raised their hand and said, I think you're meeting illegal. I went back, I conducted the research, I brought the board back in, and I said, member of the media, you are correct. And we stopped the meeting. About a month after that, there was a meeting in which the agenda was published properly, 72 hours in advance. It was published on the website simultaneously. When we arrived at the meeting, there accidentally was an old version of the agenda circulated to the entire room. And the question was, to me, which agenda do we follow? And so, without my presence, that agenda, the incorrect agenda, was what was going to be followed. Again, the decision is not mine whether I'm present. The decision is not mine. If the board wants me present, I will be present to assist with compliance with all transparency laws to make sure that you're having full, open meetings in compliance with the Open Meetings Act and not risk the violations that you would have had otherwise. But if the board does not want me present, that is a decision of the board, and I will not be present.
I just feel that as a superintendent, he should go over this agenda and call you and say, you know, is this agenda good? Is it fair? Is it right? Why do we need a babysitter? I feel like I'm having a babysitter when we pay the superintendent lots of money to make these decisions. And it's an agenda. Black and white, a 7-year-old can probably know the rules. Why can't a district like us know the rules? Why would we waste tons of money when we could go to other projects, books, facilities? Is this a common practice in other districts?
And on that point, yes and no. Yes and no. And some districts have problems because there's a lack of presence. Again, it's a decision of the board, but I'd like to repeat this. This administration is taking it upon itself, through this new superintendent, to focus on transparency laws and compliance with those laws, improving the IPRA process, improving the Open Meetings Act process. Again, it's up to the board whether I'm present, and I respect the decision of the board if they want me here for better compliance with transparency laws, or if they don't want me. Okay?
I want to add to some of that. I requested legal counsel, Mr. Archuleta, months back, due to the fact of the loss of at that point was the pending litigation with the Rio Grande Sun, not providing information, breaking of OMA by the attorney, sent to the Attorney General's office, that we continue looking at. So it was to protect the board. Because I could see it with Eileen, I could see it. I try to get them all that information, they try to provide that agenda. That's my job. So, first of all, we need to understand about babysitting. It's not babysitting. It's that we get questioned on things that we're trying to provide. I think Mr. Martinez is trying to set systems in place so we get rid of that. So if it's costing us legal expense, yes, it is costing us more money. But I'm not going to put myself, as I stated before, in a situation where we're violating any laws in terms of Open Meetings Act or IPRAs or anything that we need to move forward. All we're trying to do is make open government. That's what we've asked for. That's what we've done. So for it to cost us more money, we don't have no choice. I mean, primary example is you leak to the media, you call KOB, you call other media sources, you bring people here to complain about last week about one piece of that agenda. That was one piece. That was the quote. And so what we're trying to do is to avoid all of that, to make sure every meeting is moving forward, everything is being brought out. We might as well just have legal counsel here, so we don't have to worry about anything. So we know that we're not in violation of no law. If we are, our attorney can explain to us what we need to do, how we remedy it, and how we move forward.
But what I'm saying is we don't need to have him here. We can go over the agenda, show the agenda.
That's you requested that the practice of that agenda item.
Like it, because
Yes, you did. Not now, not today. You had this in June, my first question there. You had the question to Mr.
well, yeah, you got to run yourself to bring it here without getting the permission of the board.
No, I did because I got
But you got to get the you felt. And we're a board. We're a board, we're not.
What's here? And what's right here? It's on the agenda. So you have an opportunity now to vote and try to break laws, or you have an opportunity to have a legal counsel, which other school districts throughout the state do and don't do. So we make sure that we're moving forward with a good legal agenda.
Mr. President, you've been president for almost 2 years.
I have.
You should know this already.
I do.
You should, well, you don't, because
I do.
you're the attorney here.
No, because we continue getting hammered.
One of the high-priced babysitter here.
No, it's not a babysitter. It's not a babysitter.
I just want to,
Can we move on, please?
Prime example, real quick, Mr. Zamora, while I have you up here for clarification, because, you know, this was brought to my attention last week too, when we had that meeting. We had some citizens, some constituents that brought to our attention that we had an action item, which was the track. And there wasn't all the quotes, you know, on board book, but it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was still our legal option to approve that agenda item, right? Do we have to provide?
I, like my fellow board member Yolanda Salazar, I think I need more information on this. I need to make sure that we're doing something that's correct here. I need to look into it a little deeper. I don't know, I really don't know what to think of it right now. I'm not certain. I don't know if I can go on this.
who's the employer? You can't name it.
Well, first of all, we're not going to name employees in public. Second of all, if it's not truthful, that the direction wasn't made by Ed to take that public record home, then it becomes a personnel issue. So this issue cannot be discussed in public.